Hello, and welcome back to ABC, Aubrey, Books, and Coffee. Grab your beverage of choice and join me for some more book discussions. For today, we're going to be talking about my February TBRW. Now, I got the game TBR actually from Kim, who does Whimsical Narratives, and I actually love also following her for all of her reading sprints on Tuesday mornings and Friday evenings. I'm going to link her information down below. Definitely check her out. She's a lot of fun. She's really sweet. In fact, right now she's over in London having the time of her life. So definitely come join it because we have such a good time talking and discussing books and giving ideas. And of course, you get a chance to read all of your books on your TBR by having those reading sprints. So please come join her as well. But basically, I got the idea from her game. She has what's called TBR Cafe, and it was so cute. And so I changed some of the prompts and pictures and a little bit more of what the gameplay is, but I did kind of get inspired by her game. So definitely check hers out, and much mad props to her. And behind me, you'll see the note cards. I actually got this idea from her as well to kind of keep me from buying more books than I could ever actually read, as much as I want to fill up my bookshelves. It's this little card where basically as you read, you check it off. And when you get to 10, you can get yourself a new book. Now, because I am writing as well, I also added a W to my game. So it's a TBRW game, and that's for my writing. And I have different prompts and cards that I draw for writing challenges. But I also have a note card for the writing portion of it. And if every time I get 1,000 words, I get to mark it on the card, also to earn me more books or some writing equivalent goodie. So for the month of February, I ended up rolling 8 total, and that's how many I was required to read just at the beginning, because of course there's always other books that get tacked on, like by book boxes that come in and things like that. The first book, though, I want to review is Keeper of the Lost City, Nightfall by Shannon Messenger. This is book 6 in the Keeper of the Lost City series. My daughter loves this series, and so I decided I would read it with her, and so I'm actually trying to catch up with her because she's a much faster reader than I am. I gave this a 4 stars. I'm actually really enjoying this series. I'm enjoying the characters. I like their interactions. People are Team Keith for Team So Fits with Loving Fits, and it's a lot of fun, and the community is really fun trying to discuss it and see what's going on. But be careful because there are a lot of spoilers out there. There was a podcast that was all about Keeper of the Lost Cities that I thought my daughter and I could enjoy listening to. And their very first episode, they say they're only covering chapters 1 through 14, but they were literally spoiling stuff from 8.5. So just be very careful if you don't want to be spoiled. The next book we read was Cinder, which is book 1 in the Lunar Chronicles series. Now, this one I had tried to read several times in physical format, could not get through it. But on one of those Friday night reading sprints I mentioned with Kim, someone said, do it through an audiobook because it's so much better. So I downloaded it, and sure enough, I have loved this series after doing it that way. So I highly recommend, if you've tried before and couldn't read through it, to get the audiobook. That's Cinder by Marissa Meyer. And I gave that a 3 star. Then I read Pride and Prejudice and Zombies by Seth Grahame-Smith. This I gave a 2 star. Now, I'm a huge fan of Jane Austen. I love all things Jane Austen, the little offshoots that you read. Love, love, love those. This one, I was kind of disappointed in it. I think I was going to picture it as more like the movie, but it's not. It's like they really literally took Pride and Prejudice, written by Jane Austen, and then just sprinkled random facts of training and ninjas and zombies and things like that. And I get that's probably what I should have expected from the title of the book, but I really was expecting a different kind of storyline and for some different twists and turns that just never came. So I was a little disappointed by that one. Then I read Keeper of the Lost City Flashback. I gave that a 4 star by Shannon Messenger again, and that's book 7 of the series. So I'm getting there slowly but surely. Then I read Scarlet, which is book 2 of the Lunar Chronicles, giving that a 3 star by Marissa Meyer, again by audiobook. Then I got to read A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire by Jennifer Armentrout. As you can see back here on my shelf, I have the From Blood and Ash. This is book 2 of that series. Really enjoyed it. I know it's got mixed reviews out there, Some people don't like that it's turned kind of more into a romance than just fantasy. And there's definitely some steamy parts in here. Katie is not old enough to read this book yet. I know it's at the high school library, which just blows my mind because, oh my gosh, there's steamy scenes. But it was still really good. I still really enjoyed it. Good job, Jennifer. I am a huge fan. So for me, I gave that a 5-star. Then the next book I read was Cress, which is book 3 in the Lunar Chronicles. Again, audiobook by Marissa Meyer, and again, 3 stars. Then I read, because I've heard tons of people talking about it, and obviously with my Throne of Glass, I love Sarah J. Maas, but I've never read ACOTAR. So I got A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas, and I read it, and I did. I totally see the hype. I absolutely love it. I don't want to give away any spoilers, so I'm just going to say I'm dying to know what happens between Farah and Tamlin. This is as far as I've gotten. I've been spoiler-free so far, so you guys who finished the series are probably laughing your heads off already knowing what happens between the two of them, but I am excited to read the next one in the series for next month if I can work it in with the prompts somehow, but it was really good. So that was a 5-star read for me as well. Then, so that was the 8 books. And then, of course, every month my family and I do what's called Bookopoly. Now, this is also inspired by Becca and the books, and I'll give her information down below as well. She's brilliant. She does lots of readathons and reading sprints and games, and she does book clubs and all kinds of things. She is just a phenomenal person and a phenomenal channel to follow. If you haven't heard of her before, please check her out. But anyway, for her Bookopoly game that she created, and she gives you links so you can print this off and do it at home. And so we have been all year so far. For this past month, I was doing Throne of Glass, Queen of Shadows by Sarah J. Maas. And this, for anybody who knows the Throne of Glass series, knows that this is book 5. And so it was really, really good. I have actually read them all before. So this is kind of a jump in the middle reread, but I really enjoyed it and loved it. And it fulfilled the prompt for the Bookopoly. So that was a win-win for me. And then the last 2 things that I had to read for the month of February were actually from Book of the Month Club. I joined them and I got their first book box. And the first book I got was The Magnolia Palace by Fiona Davis. I gave this actually a 2-star. I'm sorry. I know so many people are talking about this book and how much they absolutely loved it. I thought it was a slog to get through, and I did the best I could, and I still read the whole thing just so I could, say I did, and so I could review it afterwards. But I don't know if I just wasn't connecting with the characters because they were models, and I'm obviously not. Or if it was because it was a split timeline that was kind of hard to follow sometimes, where one's more modern and one way in the past. Or the whole thing just didn't grab me. I didn't really care about what was happening with the characters at all, I'm sorry to say. So for me, it was a solid 2-star, and I hope you guys enjoy it maybe a little bit more. Another one that I read from Book of the Month was A River Enchanted. This is by Rebecca Ross. Now, I have never read any of her stuff before, but I heard great things, so I was very excited to get this one and read it. I liked it better than The Magnolia Palace. This one I gave a 3.5. It started off really slow, and I thought for sure it was going to be just like Magnolia Palace, and I just really can't pick them. But then in the middle, it really grabbed me. And I was loving it, and I was hooked, and I wanted to know what happened, and I was worried for the characters, and I was totally invested. And then I hated the ending. Like, I hated the ending. And that won't be for everybody. So don't be too scared to go check it out. But for me, it just left me wanting, and I was just extremely disappointed. But another one that I actually have a book box for is my husband gave me the gift of Scribbler, which is a book box for writers. And in each Scribbler is also a book. And then, of course, you get some really cool stuff. But we'll get more into that next time, because the video that I'm hoping to do a couple videos from now will be an unboxing of the Scribbler box. I wanted to do an unboxing of Owl Crate, but they're all behind like a month to a month and a half. So it's going to be a hot minute before I can do those. But the Scribbler is supposed to arrive any day now, and I will then record an unboxing and I will share that with you guys. But it does always come with a book. And so for this month, the book was Under Color of Law by Aaron Philip Clarke. Now for this one, I only gave it a 2-star, and I hated to do that because initially I was really invested in this character. He's a cop. He seems like this really great guy. You're really rooting for him. These weird and horrible things are happening, and he's trying to solve a murder. And normally I like shows like that. You know, I really liked Blue Bloods. I really liked NCIS, and I just don't know. I guess maybe I'm not a crime reader. Maybe that's a genre I don't really do much with. Because it just, as I was going, I was getting tired of reading it, and the number just kept going down. So it started off at like a 4-star, and then by the time I was done, I'm like, I don't even care anymore. And so it was a 2-star, but a wonderful premise. And the author actually interviewed the LAPD for this book, and so mad props for that. And so definitely worth checking out. So anyway, that was my TBR part. And so the winner for me overall of all of the books that I read was Jennifer Armentrout's Kingdom of Flesh and Fire. I had never read any of her stuff before from Blood and Ash, and so I just love these characters, and I love what's going on with them. I won't say too much because if you haven't read the first one, it would spoil stuff. Highly recommend you guys check it out if you haven't. If you're old enough, if you're my daughter's age or younger, no, you're not allowed to, okay? So that for me was the February win. And so we'll see in the Battle of the Books at the end of the year who won overall. Then, of course, for the TBRW portion of it, for the writing, I did not fulfill all my prompts. I only ended up writing about 3,000 words total for the whole month. And I know the month was shorter, but not by that much. I just really was not on the ball. So this month, the punishment for March now is going to be that I have to do an extra roll, which means I may have even more words that I'm going to be required to write. So we'll see. But I did finish a few chapters. I did get those chapters sent to my editor. So we'll see. We're still hoping for forward progress, you know, not perfection, but just forward progress. So thank you guys for joining me. I hope you got some good book ideas. And whenever I see you next time, I'm hoping to have some more goodies, like maybe talking about March's TBR rolls and how that went for me. Take care. Have a great day.